again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Rangel. Today we're going to talk about the next part of our notes, Federalist versus Anti-Federalist. All right, let's do this quickly. Federalists wanted a constitution. The big deal was, we got rid of the first rule book, which says the Articles of Confederation, and so we needed to make a new rule book, and this new rule book had to give the government a lot of power. And these were the Federalists. The Federalists realized that unless they had a new rule book with a lot of power, then this country was going to fall apart. Because under the Articles, the country was going broke. So they decided to come up with a constitution, and the Federalists wanted it. But then there was another group called the Anti-Federalists who were against the constitution because it gave the government too much power. And so it was a big debate. So they came up with a compromise, as always. And the Federalists got their constitution, but the Anti-Federalists got the Bill of Rights. Now, the Bill of Rights is a document that protects the citizens from the government. And these are called the first 10 amendments. First 10 amendments to the Constitution are the Bill of Rights. To amend means to add on to. So what this was a document that was added on to the Constitution. So the Federalists get the Constitution, Anti-Federalists get the Bill of Rights. So they both get kind of what they wanted. The Federalists got that strong government, but the Anti-Federalists got some kind of protection for the people. And again, it was created, it was created to protect citizens from the government. And there were some people who said, we don't need protection, we don't need a Bill of Rights. Look at our president. Our president is George Washington. He's a nice guy. He's not going to hurt the citizens. He's not going to abuse his power. But the Anti-Federalists said, well, what about the next president? We know George Washington is a good guy. We know that he's not going to abuse his power. But what about the next guy? And the next guy? And the next president? What about 100 years from now? How do we know that 100 years from now, the president is not going to abuse his power? We don't know who that guy's going to be. So they decide, all right, we're going to give you the Bill of Rights, and this is going to protect the citizens from the government. So let's go over them real quick. Amendment number 1, this is the freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of the assembly, and freedom of the press. So freedom of religion, again, you can go to any church you want to go to. We have that here in America. Not all countries have that, but we have it here. Freedom of speech means you can pretty much say what you want to say, unless what you say is going to hurt somebody. Like if you shout fire in a crowded theater, that's going to get you in trouble. You don't have that kind of freedom. Freedom of assembly, that means you can get together and you can hang out in a group and you can talk about stuff without having to let the government know. Other countries, if you have some kind of meeting, they're afraid you're going to meet to overthrow the government, so they want to know what you're doing first, and at the same time they want to have someone there to make sure you're not conspiring to throw over the government. But here in America, if you want to get together and talk about how you're going to overthrow the government, you have that right. You have that right. If they find out about it, though, you might get in trouble. Also, you have freedom of the press. So if you want to, whatever you print in the newspaper, the government's not going to tell you what to print, what not to print. You can do what you want. You can print what you want, as long as you're not talking bad about somebody and making up lies about them, because then that can get you in trouble. That's called slander, and you can get sued for that. But if you want to write that the president is doing a lousy job, you can write that. You're not going to get in trouble for that. So that's amendment number 1. Amendment number 2 is the right to bear arms, to have a weapon for protection. And this is, again, big in the news. A lot of people want to carry around their AK-47s and they say, we have the right to bear arms. Under Amendment number 2, we can carry around our AK-47s. And, well, you can't do that. The states have made different kind of laws to protect ordinary citizens from people who, like AK-47s. But you still have that right to have a gun. It's not like the government come in and take it away from you. And then Amendment number 3, we don't even use this one too much. It says no soldier can come in and live in your house without your permission. This is came from the Quartering Act. The Quartering Act back in the 1700s, where the British came in and just took over your house if they wanted to. Well, we made sure in this new country that was never going to happen again. So Amendment number 3 says no soldiers can come into your house without your permission. So if a soldier comes and knocks on your door and wants to live in your house, you have the right to say no. You go somewhere else, unless it's like your brother or your uncle coming over from Afghanistan or Iraq. Let them in. Let them in. But anybody else, they got to find somewhere else to live. Remember number 4, no unreasonable searches or seizures. So the people, the police or the government, before they can come into your house, they got to have a search warrant. If they don't have a search warrant, then anything they find in your house that might be bad and might get you in trouble, they can't use it in court. You can say that I know my rights, Judge. I know that they didn't have a search warrant. So anything used in the court that was any evidence confiscated in that search, you can't use it because the police didn't have a search warrant. But police don't make that mistake anymore. The police always have a search warrant. So it's better just not to do anything bad and not to hide anything bad in your house. Amendment number 5. This is freedom from testifying against yourself. So if they put you on the stand and say, did you do it? You can say, I plead the 5th. How many have heard I plead the 5th? Yeah. It's if the judge says, did you do the crime? If you lie, it's contempt of court and you get in trouble. If you tell the truth, you're admitting to the crime and you get in trouble. But amendment number 5 says you don't got to answer. You don't got to answer that question. If your parents ask you that question, however, you got to answer. You can't say, Mom, Dad, I plead the 5th. No, that's not going to work at home. I already tried that, didn't work. And then also, if all of a sudden you're found not guilty, they can't try you again for the same crime if they find you innocent the first time. That's called double jeopardy. Double jeopardy. Number 6. Let's do this. Number 6 is the right to a speedy and fair trial. So you have a right to have a trial as soon as one's available, calendar day is available, and you have the right to get a lawyer and to be protected by, having your own what's it called? Not lawyer. Your own defense. You can have your own defense talk for you. Amendment number 7 says you have right to jury trial. So if the judge says, I'm going to judge you, you can say, no, Judge, I know my rights. I have the right to a jury trial. That's where 12 people get to decide whether you're guilty or innocent. And in the most cases, the big cases, they got to all agree. If one juror says, I think that person's innocent, then you can go free. Or they're going to retry you and they're going to try it again. But a lot of times that's just too much time and money, so you go free. Hopefully, nobody here was going to have to worry about these amendments because you're never going to get in trouble, right? Yeah, good. Amendment number 8, freedom from cruel and unusual punishment. So no matter what you do, they're not going to give you a punishment that is out of line or too big for the crime. They can't send you to Antarctica to shovel snow for the rest of your life for stealing a candy bar. That's cruel and unusual punishment. They use this a lot with the capital punishment, with the death penalty. A lot of people say that using the death penalty is cruel and unusual punishment, and they're using amendment number 8 to try and fight that. And there's good points on both sides, but that's amendment number 8. Amendment number 9 is just because these rights are listed in the Constitution doesn't mean you don't have other rights too. So the Constitution gives you certain rights, or the Bill of Rights gives you certain rights, but there's other rights that you have that maybe are not mentioned. But number 9 kind of like, it covers everything else. Number 10 is anything that the Constitution doesn't say that Congress can do will be left up to the states or to the people. So the states will anything that the government or Congress doesn't handle, then it'll be given to the states. Number 9 and 10 are not real exciting amendments, but they're there and they're part of the Bill of Rights. So there you have it. You have 10 amendments called the Bill of Rights, and these are there to protect citizens from the government in case the government starts abusing its power. Good thing they're there. We use them all the time. All right, so there you have it. Amendments 1 through 10. Make sure you study those. They're going to be on the test. And I will see you later. This is Mr. Rangel. I'll see you in class. Bye-bye.